Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to Wisdom from North, another conversation. My name is Jannica, and I'm here with a wonderful lady today. Her name is Diana Cooper. She lives in England, and she is called the Angel Lady. And that is because she had an encounter many years ago with a real angel. And after that, she has been traveling around the world, giving lectures about angels and teaching people about the heavenly and the angelic realm. And she has written 20 books about spiritual phenomena, such as Orbs, Golden Atlantis, and even unicorns. And she is even the principal of the Diana Cooper School, which is a not-for-profit organization, and they offer certificated spiritual courses. Now, Diana, it's so nice having you on Wisdom from North. Much welcome.
Hello, it's lovely to be here.
Now, I've been really eager to bring up this subject about angels because, like I told you, our very own princess in Norway, Princess Martha Louise, she has started an angel school, and she has written many books about angels. And so, there are many people not supporting her, but there are people supporting her, and so I've been very eager to talk about this subject because it's so fascinating, and I know that you have a lot of experience within this field of study. So I've been excited about this topic.
Good.
Now, first I want to ask you, have you heard of Martha Louise, and have you heard of her work?
Yes, I have indeed. I give lectures in Hamburg at the conferences there, and she's also talked there. And there's a lot of talk about her school and the courage she has doing it as a princess.
Yeah, she's very, very brave. And I remember in our previous conversation, because we've tried to Skype before and we had some technical problems, but
we did.
You told about that there was something special about Scandinavia and Norway. Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh yes, in my book 2012 and Beyond, and another one, I talk about what's happening in the world. And Norway is a very special place because it's prepared already by ice and snow, so it's been purified and cleansed. So highly evolved people tend to incarnate there. The Lord Hilarion, the great master of technology, is working with the scientists of Norway and the angels and bringing forward spiritual technology through them. And this will increase and become more obvious in the 20 years up to the new golden age starting in 2032. And so Norway is right in line with the Arctic, where the 33rd Christ consciousness portal is opening, carrying a lot of that Christ ray, and of course that's bathing Norway. And the stellar gateway, the great stellar gateway that we have, our 12th chakra, the stellar gateway of the planet, is in the Arctic, again pouring light on Norway. So after 2032, when the new golden age begins, golden cities will arise in Norway.
Wow, this sounds amazing.
I know it is.
I'm thinking that while we're on this subject, we'll continue talking about it, because I've read somewhere that you said that in 2013 we started the golden era, or we're moving into that golden era. Can you expand on that and talk a little bit about 2032, which is also a number that is important?
Okay. On the 21st of December last year, 2012, there was a cosmic moment. And in that moment, the portals of heaven opened and source light drew down into everybody. Now, everybody was touched by it. Whether they received it and let it change them is different. But the extraordinary thing is that 31% of people raised their frequency to the fifth dimension at that cosmic moment. Now that is almost a third of the planet that people are carrying that higher light. And here's something even more extraordinary. 57% of animals moved into the fifth dimension at the cosmic moment.
Now, I just have to stop you there. What does that mean, to move into the fifth dimension?
We have have been a third dimensional planet where everybody is selfish, out for their own ends, just thinking about their own needs and necessities, very much based in survival. And that is part of the old age. We have been going through a transition where more people have moved into the fourth dimension, where their hearts open and they start to recognize they're on a soul journey. But now a huge number of people have moved into the fifth dimension, where you do what's for the highest good. You care for others. Now, this means that we will no longer have this old paradigm where there are those that have and those that haven't. We will no longer accept that people are starving in one place and they're overfed in another. That will start to change as people address these problems with compassion. Now, the old paradigm is where the economics was about greed, just making money no matter what. That's old. All those dinosaur businesses are collapsing now. And so we're moving to a new paradigm where the companies that succeed are those that look after nature, look after children, look after people and humanity, care for the planet, and are doing what's for the highest good. They're creative, they're artistic, or they are working to help others and cooperate. Now, that is the new way forward. And so we have seen massive shifts as high street names are collapsing because their energy, their frequency is no longer in alignment with the new energy coming in.
So that happened the 21st of December. I just interviewed actually an astrologer who talked about that there were a lot of portals opening. Now, can you expand on what a portal is? I'm not quite sure what that means actually, and what kind of energies that came onto Earth or into Earth.
Okay. Now, a portal is a high frequency place. And when you go there in your thoughts or in your meditations or your sleep, the angels can move you into other dimensions. And there were 33 that are now opening. 33 is the number, the vibration of the Christ consciousness. And each one of these carries the Christ light, which is unconditional love. And so these throughout the planet are opening now. Most of them are opening gradually over the 20 years. Some are opening and spreading their light out. For example, there's one in Honolulu, and that is equivalent to the sacral chakra. And that is pouring out a most beautiful pink energy, which is helping to shift the sexuality of the world. Now, this means that by 2032, the frequency of the sacral chakras of everybody will have risen above the frequency of AIDS, for example. Wow. And so AIDS will no longer have a hold on the planet. It also means that families will come together in ways that haven't been possible before because of all the control and everything else that goes on in families. That will be dissolved and people will be with their families because they want to be, because they love them, they feel belonging. And so the energy is shifting. And there's not just those 33 cosmic portals that opened. The 12 chakras of the planet have started to open. And that is having a massive effect on the planet. And that's why the Olympic Games was in London, because the Earth Star chakra below the feet, which is a fifth dimensional chakra, of course, that's in London. And so the Olympic Games had to be there so that it could prepare London energetically. And the angels worked massively hard to make sure that London was ready and that people came in and celebrated and that it was a special time so that the Earth Star chakra could be ready to open.
So you mean like us having chakras, the Earth also has chakras?
Absolutely, yes, and all the stars are chakras. And as we open, we connect to the planetary chakras, and then we also connect to the stellar chakras, and we start to bring in the wisdom of the stars. And that's another thing that's going to propel us forward over the next 20 years.
Okay. So, what is it about numbers? You mentioned 33 portals and then 2032. I mean, is it that specific, like it was 2012, or is it shifting? I mean, it seems specific, but then some people are saying, well, it's around that time. So I'm a little bit confused about these
Well,
numbers.
numbers are very, very specific. Every number has an energy, and that energy is a vast, vast cosmic energy out there, and then we see the very diluted effect of it on Earth. But every single number is important. That's why your date of birth is so important. That's why the letters of your name, which are each attached to a number, are so important. They're a vibration that affects you.
So what's going to happen in 2032?
Well, it'll be like 2012. It's an energetic shift. Nothing specific will happen, I'm sure, but energetically, enough people will move into a consciousness where they will want to move the planet forward. Enough people will feel fifth dimensional, so they'll want to care for animals and everybody else. There will be people who will be creating communities where everybody works together for the highest good, where people share and they care and they look after the planet. Now, because by that time we will know the whole planet will be cleansed, we won't have passports in the way we have now. We'll be free to travel. People will be welcomed wherever they go.
In our lifetime?
Yes, definitely in our lifetime. Yes.
Wow.
You know, the changes that have taken place over the last 20 years have been enormous. Don't forget, spiritual technology is also coming in. That's going to make a shift too.
Yeah.
So people will know, we won't have these great, huge buildings and things. People will want to go back to smaller, more local, caring with people that they know. We won't have these vast, great impersonal schools, but much smaller ones where we give children what they need,
Right.
rather than what adults want to impose on them.
Wow, this is extraordinary information. Okay, now I have to move back a little bit so people can understand who don't know you about how this all started for you, because you didn't have a background in spirituality
No.
or religion. And something happened 20 years ago. Can you tell us about that incident about the angel?
Well, yeah, it was nearer 30 years ago. And as you say, I had no religious, spiritual, or psychic background. Nevertheless, when I was getting divorced and I was at absolute rock bottom, I could not see anything except darkness ahead. I sat on a chair and I said, if there's anything out there, show me, and you've got 1 hour. And that's when an angel came in, a beautiful golden 6-foot angel, and literally took me out of my body, and we went on a journey together. And this journey lasted exactly 1 hour. And the most important part for me was when we flew together side by side over a hall full of people, and they all had rainbow auras over their heads. And I looked down and I said to the angel, am I down there in the audience? And the angel said, no, you're on the platform. You're to be a spiritual teacher. I was shocked. I had no idea what that meant, but I knew this was something very important. And the angels continued to support me as I got out of my marriage, and I trained to be a hypnotherapist, and I set up in practice. And I saw angels around people as I worked with them, but I didn't engage with them. Then 10 years later they came back. And this time I was lying in the bath asking for some guidance, and this angelic voice said, we want you to tell people about angels. And I said, no way, people will think I'm mad. I don't want to do that, thank you. And they said, who's doing your work? Is it your ego or your higher self? And I said, point taken. I got out of the bath, I sat on the bed with a towel around me, and 3 angels stood in front of me and gave me all sorts of information, which later became my first book on angels.
Wow. Wow, what a life mission.
Very interesting it's been.
Yeah, I'm thinking that when you first saw that angel, did you believe in it? I mean, I just can't imagine seeing an angel, and I don't know how I would react. I mean, were you afraid? Did you believe it? Believe it when you saw it? Did the angel talk to you, or was it telepathic in a way? Like, how did it feel?
Yeah, all communication has been telepathic with the angels. It was just a knowing inside me. And even now, I sometimes see the angels, but more often I just know and have a telepathic communication with them.
Okay. So, do you see angels behind or around people all the time?
No, not generally, but I just know. And very often, if somebody asks me, then I can tell them. Like many, many years ago, I was in a radio program and I'd gone with somebody who was a clairvoyant and she was behind a screen. And he suddenly said to me, "What's my angel look like?" And the question I dreaded. And instantly I knew that it was pure white, that it was standing on his left side, that it was helping him with all his work, and it was talking through him, which was why he was so popular. And when I left, my friend said, "When he asked you that question, I stood up and I looked, and she said, everything you described was exactly right." And the point is that so many people see angels in that way without realizing it. They are affected by them, they sense them, and the angels are touching them and communicating with them, but they just don't realize it.
Wow. It makes me smile just talking about angels. I can feel that. It's such a beautiful concept. It's such a beautiful thing. But what is an angel? I mean, can you tell or talk about the difference between a guide and an angel? And talk a little bit about if angels have ever been earthbound?
Okay, what I'm told, and I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but this is what they've always said to me: angels never incarnate. So they have never had a human body. And some people say, oh, they're an angel, that person's an angel. But my understanding is that they have an angel working very closely with them, but they are not an angel. Now, angels do have wings. Their wings are the energies from their heart center. Anybody whose heart center is open, their energies are going around them, and they have wings too. If you've ever been with somebody who you feel so safe and so comfortable with, and they're enfolding you in their wings or their energies from their heart center, and we can expand our wings and touch other people with them. And so angels are high frequency beings beyond our level of that most people can tune into to see or to hear. So they are seventh dimensional right up to the 12th dimension. And so they are always, everybody has a guardian angel. So your guardian angel is with you throughout your life, and your guardian angel grows and evolves as you evolve.
Oh, so they grow as well?
Yeah. The greatest gift you can give your guardian angel is to evolve yourself, and then your angel evolves. And the other thing is that your angel always loves you. You have free will. Your angel is holding your blueprint, is whispering to you of the best way forward, is trying to help you by creating synchronicities, meetings, coincidences. And we can just ignore it all and have free will to do what we want to do. And your angel never stops loving you, never judges you, is standing there trying to pick up the pieces when you've made a mess of things. And I remember a little boy saying once, "You mean my angel loves me even though I can't do my maths?" I was like, his little face just lit up.
Oh, poor little boy. So, what's then the difference between an angel and a guide? would they have different tasks in a way?
Yes. Your angel is a spiritual being, and they don't have a hierarchy, but they each have their own specific jobs on their own frequency levels. Now, your guide and your guardian angel is always with you, but you may have different guides throughout your life. You have different guides for different jobs and tasks. So you may have a guide that helps you with your business, another one that helps you with your art, another one that helps you with your love life. And so they're all helping you with different aspects. And they may have had an incarnation. Most of them have. It's quite unusual to have a guide who hasn't ever been to Earth. Unfortunately, my main guide has never been to Earth and doesn't understand what it's like to have a human body. And so thinks that I can fly around the world and then get up straight away and do things, and it isn't really aware of the problems of a human body.
So, do we change or do we get a new angel in a new lifetime? Or
Usually, your guardian angel stays with you throughout your lives.
okay.
So it's like your very best friend.
Wow.
No one knows you better than your guardian angel.
Wow, that's a comforting thought.
It is. And still loves you.
Wow. Now, is there how does it work in the angelic realm? I know it's not a structure the way it is here with a hierarchy, but I mean, I've heard about archangels, and then I've heard that you have different angels that does different things, that do different things.
Yes.
What is the system?
For example, there's no ego, so there's no hierarchy. The archangels look after the angels and command them, and they also have their own amazing and awesome tasks to do. And they are between the 7th and the 9th dimension. Then you have right at the very top, or I shouldn't say top, should I? But
Yeah.
right at the very fastest frequency are the seraphim. They surround the Godhead, and they ohm, making the sound of creation, so bringing the thoughts of God out into manifestation. And that ohm is then taken through the slower frequencies until it can manifest. And we can tune into the seraphim. We can ohm with them and hold a high vision, and that will help to manifest our high vision.
Yeah, so let's get into how you contact and get in touch with your guardian angel and with the archangels. What you do, because I read that if you are very depressed and if you're vibrating at a low frequency, they can't reach you, and I think that's very sad, because that's the moment when you need them the most, you know?
Yeah. The first thing I suggest people do is light a candle, because that raises your energy and it helps to burn up some of the lower energy around you. And then surround yourself in golden light, because the angels work on the golden ray. And so how you do that is simply imagine that you're breathing gold into your aura until you're sitting in an egg of gold. That makes it so much easier for the angels to connect with you. Make sure you're grounded with your feet flat on the floor, your back straight, and then just ask your angel to come to you. Some people may feel a touch, some people may smell a perfume, some people may just sense their angel touch you, giving them a feeling of peace or something like that. And you don't have to do any more. Just know that at that instant your angel is with you and touching you. Then you can ask your angel for what you want. Ask them calmly, but always ask them only to bring it to you if it's for your highest good. I remember this little girl saying to me, I've asked the angels to make sure I'm in this particular house at school that she wanted to be in. She was 9. And she said, but I have said to them, only if it's right for me. And I thought, wow, this little girl truly understands the spiritual laws.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I know that you have written a lot of children's books, and I've also heard talk about that children come in with a different energy, that they are vibrating on a higher level, and that I've heard names like dolphin children, indigo children. Do you know anything about that, and can you expand a little bit about that?
There are lots of souls coming in at the moment that are a very high frequency. Now, the indigos, the crystals, the rainbow children, they all come from Orion, the planet of wisdom. And so they've had all their training there, and they have never been anywhere else, and they've never been to Earth before. This means it's quite difficult for some of them to understand Earth, to bring their frequency down. And this is why so many of them have problems. And if they feel that if the energy is too low for them here, then they withdraw part of their soul. Now, this is where the unicorns are really helpful. Because if a child has withdrawn part of its soul, of course the family has to do its best to raise the frequency around it. But the unicorns are really helpful in bringing that back so that the child can reground and be part of Earth. Then there are other children. For example, there are now a lot of IVF children who are coming in. I have an IVF granddaughter, and they see life differently. So they're able to help their families and bring in a higher perspective to everybody. And it's wonderful to see them because they just are such beautiful lights. Then there are very wise old souls who have incarnated many times who are coming to Earth now to help with this particular transition because we are birthing a new civilization. It's not just the end of an era and the beginning of a new era. It's a new civilization that's coming in. And all of these children and us, we have chosen to be here to help this process coming in. So it's an amazing time to live.
It is amazing, and it almost, sounds like a fairy tale because it's so grand. It's better and greater than the most, exciting movie, and it's
all that's true, but nobody said it's easy.
That's true.
Because you have your challenges, everything, people right now are having challenges because anything not resolved is being brought forward for us to resolve.
Right, because it doesn't feel like it's, heaven on earth yet.
No. We have a while to go. But because everything's accelerating, so all these scandals are coming up, people are warring, and families are having conflicts, that's because that energy has to come out before the next level can come in.
So that's why we are seeing that the troll is coming out of the box in a way, that we're seeing our shadow side.
Absolutely. You think of the Middle East, the portal of Mesopotamia is starting to open, and that is raising the frequency. So all those people that have been in the darkness, have not been free, are now clamouring for freedom. They don't want to be ruled in a way that they don't want to be. And so they're prepared to give their lives to move towards the light.
Yeah.
And to us, we see unrest. But from a higher perspective, it's that journey to the light to bring the whole area into a higher level.
So how can we cope with this, seeing all these shadow sides in ourselves, dealing with all these problems? Because it is hard to then, vibrate at a high level because you feel so depressed or.
Mm-hmm. And remember that everybody is going through this. Every country, every person. And stay grounded. Go out into nature as much as possible. connect with the trees, the plants, because they have a high frequency. Remember that everything is changing frequency. So the trees are higher, nature itself, the flowers, the animals, and we're a bit behind them. And so we're going to be more shaken up. But just remember that. Tune into them and stay grounded. And I think this is probably the greatest help. Go out into nature.
So you are staying grounded in order to connect with Mother Earth, because that's what you need to do instead of kind of I don't understand why you need to be so grounded.
What's happening is this. Our Earth Star chakra below our feet is now opening for the first time since Golden Atlantis. And it goes right down and links us into the center of our planet, which is a 7th dimensional chakra. And so we are starting to go down and receive sustenance from Lady Gaia herself. At the same time, we're reaching upward, and our higher transcendent chakras are opening right up to our stellar gateway. And so we're reaching up into the 7th dimensional angelic realms. So we have the 7th dimension above, the 7th dimension below, and we are raising our frequency all the time.
Wow. Do you get this information from the angels?
Yes, and my guide Kumikar.
Okay, so are you kind of channeling it, or how do you get the information? Do you feel it? Do you hear it? How is it conveyed to you?
Well, in many ways. Sometimes I can be sitting there and I just receive a download. I also work with a friend, and when we work together, because we were together in Golden Atlantis, we can reach a higher, purer frequency than when we're alone. And so when we're together, the angels or our guides download higher frequency information for us.
Wow. You mentioned Golden Atlantis, and I'm very fascinated by that. Can you tell us a little bit about Golden Atlantis, and if that's the kind of civilization that we have heard about, that we're moving into now?
Yes and no is the answer. Okay. Atlantis lasted 260,000 years, and the golden era was 1,500 years. And so there was this 1,500-year period when everybody was 5th dimensional, and they had awesome gifts and talents. All their 12 chakras were open, they had 12 strands of DNA, they could use incredible spiritual technology beyond our comprehension. And yet that is a platform for where we are moving to next. So we're going to be moving into something beyond that after 2032, or as things progress. And so we need to look at Golden Atlantis, take the energy from it, and be ready to use it to take the whole planet even higher.
But there's so little information about Atlantis.
Well, my book, it's been out for 10 years, Discover Atlantis, tells you all about the Golden Age, how it was created, why it was created, how they did their training, how they maintained their energies, all the things that we need to know to bring back our 12 chakras and get them fully operational again, to work with crystals as they did, and so that we can start to live in that energy again.
Yeah, because I've heard that crystals were very important to them, and especially the crystal skull.
Crystals were very important. They were used for everything, for their heating, their transport, their communication systems. The crystal skulls were fashioned by the high priests and priestesses of each of the 12 tribes, and it was out of one block of solid quartz crystal, and it was created by thought power, and so that was how it was carved and how the energy was placed in it. And so it is a hugely powerful computer in the shape of a skull. And so they can talk and they can sing and they can dance and they radiate light. They do amazing things. And they contain all the wisdom of the knowledge of Earth and its beginnings. They contain all the information about that particular tribe and the special energies that they have. Then at the fall of Atlantis, the high priests and priestesses of each tribe took their crystal skull with them to the place that was prepared for them to go. And so that there are 12 places on Earth that they were taken, and we know about Egypt. And the one crystal skull that has been released so far to the general public was the Mayan one. And that was released at the start of the war because, the first war, because they wanted to try and stop the war happening. And they hoped that the love energy coming out of the skull would stop the conflict energy. It wasn't strong enough to do that, but that's why that skull was released early. And last year, the Thoth skull, the Incan skull, was released in Peru, but people don't know about it. But apparently its guardians have found it and they're looking after it, but it's not being brought out for the general public. But it does mean that people can tune into it more easily.
Okay, so there's a skull, a crystal skull that comes from Atlantis, and it works like a computer. Did I get it?
There are 12 crystal skulls, one for each of the tribes.
Okay.
And by 2032, 6 of them will have been released. There is also an amethyst skull, which contains all the energy and information that is in all of the skulls. And that is not on Earth at the moment. It's been taken into the inner planes.
So what are the 12 tribes?
There are 12 tribes in Golden Atlantis. Each one had a high priest or priestess in charge of them, and each one was independent, but they all worked together for the highest good. In fact, the Olympic Games started in Atlantis as a way of people practicing their excellence, and it was all done without ego, and they would all come together every few years, and then they would compete, but only to demonstrate excellence, to have joy, to celebrate. That was the original purpose of it.
So why did Atlantis fall?
Because one priest had a thought that he could use the power for himself.
Really?
As soon as he thought that, then dark angels came in and they started influencing people to think for just themselves and become selfish. And then it very, very quickly fell.
So there are such things as dark forces.
There are dark and there are light. We live in a plane of duality. For everything in the light, there is its equivalent in the dark. However, we are now moving beyond duality during the next golden age to bring about oneness again. So that is the vision. At the moment, we still live in a plane of duality.
Okay. So I have to ask you, did you ever doubt that this information you got was true? That you were having ideas or you were fantasizing?
No.
No. Wow. And then I have to ask something else because, there are a lot of things out on the market in the spirituality business. And does one need to read a book or listen to a CD in order to, raise vibrations and develop spiritually?
No, of course not. But what you get from a book is the energy of the person who's written it. And if it resonates with you, then it can help you to raise your frequency. It can also help you very quickly to learn knowledge and wisdom. But with every book, including my books, I say only take what is right for you, because we're all working on different levels. The information I'm given to me is right for my frequency.
I think that's very important that you mention that because one can feel that, I have to read this book and that book, but it doesn't ring true.
Right. But then it's not for you.
Right. Okay.
Only take those bits that resonate with you. And then 5 years on, you might find that it does resonate with you.
Right. So you always have to listen to yourself first.
Always. That's the most important thing.
Wow, wonderful. I just want to ask a few more questions about how we can connect with the angels. Can you ask an angel for like mundane tasks, like, can you fix my refrigerator?
Well, that's a physical thing, and they may not be able to do that. Certainly everybody I know asks for parking places, and you also have to ask for the highest good, because a little old lady might just need that space that they've prepared more than you do. But in general terms, it is awesome how they will provide you with a parking space or make your life easier. If you're going shopping, ask them to help you find the perfect present for this person. Whatever it is, they will smooth your life.
So you can't ask too much. You can't tire them with questions and...
You can ask all the time anything, but then you have to trust them to do the job. See, what a lot of people do is they ask their angel for something, and then instead of letting the angel get on with it and create it for you, they then keep bringing it back with their thoughts and thinking about it and blocking the angel from doing the job.
Okay, so you really have to trust that you will receive
what
you ask for.
Let go.
Okay, that's a challenge.
That's the difficult bit, yeah.
Wonderful.
And always ask for the highest good. That is so important.
Yeah.
Things like The Secret, they're holding the planet back because it's all about manifesting with your power, but what you want, not what's for the highest good.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
I see the difference, yeah.
Yeah. When you work with the angels and you're prepared to let it go, then you're not earning any karma or creating any karma.
But there's a lot of wisdom in that, letting go, because that means that you would have to work on yourself, because releasing is probably the hardest part.
But that's the answer to everything, isn't it? Yeah. It's always about us. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
There are these people that they want a house. They want their neighbour's house, or they want somebody's husband, or something like that. You can't ask for that. You can ask for a house as nice as that one, or you can ask for a partner that is similar to this one, but you can't take somebody else's thing. It sounds obvious, but people do it.
Yeah. It sounds natural and logical. So what are you working on now, these days?
Well, I'm having some fun. I'm writing a film script for one of my novels, The Silent Stones, which is fascinating. And I'm writing a fun book about my dog, Venus, and the cat, and all the fun things I've learned from them, which is also spiritual. And for the school, written a book called 777 True Angel Stories, and that should be coming out very shortly.
Wow.
And all the money is the royalties are all going to the school to help spread the light for that. And that's fascinating because, of course, people have shared their stories. And it just gives you such a lift that 777 people, the angelic number, have had these experiences that they are sharing. Not they haven't all seen angels, but sometimes they've asked for something and their child has been healed, or they lost a wedding ring in an impossible place. One was in an ocean and asked the angels and dived in, and against all the odds, next morning find the wedding ring.
How beautiful.
I know.
So I'm thinking it's best just to ask, although you might not believe in angels. But does it work if you don't believe in it? I guess I'm asking. Let's say you're a skeptic and you're, one part of you, one small % is believing, and so you ask, will it work then?
There are two answers to that. One is that faith is incredibly powerful, and so if you believe, then that adds an immeasurable energy to it. And the other is that the angels believe in you, whether you believe in them or not.
Okay.
And so they will try and help you if you ask.
Wonderful. I would ask to be on the best side.
Always ask.
Thank you so much, Diana. This was a wonderful conversation. There was so much to talk about. I would love to interview again at some point, and maybe in person. We don't live that far from each other, so
Right.
maybe we can make that happen one day.
Maybe. That would be lovely.
Thank you so much,
you.
and good luck with your work.
Thank you. Bye-bye.